Good morning, welcome. It is 10:32, close enough, a.m. It is Sunday, and that means it is time for Sunday Club, which is a weekly live stream where every week we look at some Ruby on Rails coding and we work on an application together. And it's a super casual look at different aspects of building that application. And what does the application do? It allows you to come along, create a user account, and you can give the app a YouTube account ID or sort of give it a Twitch user login channel ID thingy, and it will go and pull all of the videos and content and stuff from those third-party services, and it will kind of build a mini web page of all of the videos that you can then edit. And also it has a little administration control panel where people can admin those videos and do stuff like that. So that's what we do each week. There's a whole, if you're watching this on YouTube, there is a whole backlog of episodes. If there's anything specific you're interested in, then you can go take a look. And also we are looking to kind of wrap this application up. So this will be kind of one of the last few streams looking at this application specifically, and then we're going to change the format of the show a little bit just to do something different. So follow up. One is I don't do a huge amount of preparation for this normally, but I have done even less than normal because, as I've mentioned on this show a couple of times, I am in the process of trying to move house, and that we're right in the middle of it. So we got access to our new place on Wednesday, but we don't move in until a week on Tuesday. And also I have a couple of large projects happening at work. So just kind of jumping straight on this. So that's main follow-up. So we're not going to change the format of the show or do anything specifically until that stuff is done. So that'll be like 3 weeks away, I guess. And other follow-up. Right, last week we couldn't get something working, and Finian, who is an absolute hero, reached out with some stuff that we're gonna dive straight into this week to look at what wasn't working and see if we can get it fixed. So let's dive in and take a look at what he has sent me. Let me just check the stream before I do that. Check that everything is working. Yep, great. Okay, cool. So let me switch the screen over so you can see the email he sent me. So I'm hoping I actually didn't check his permission to share this email. So I'm really hoping it's okay, but it's pretty factual, so I'm hoping it's okay. Because it's information. So super appreciate this coming over. So let's go back over what the problem that we were having last week was. So what we were trying to do is have an OAuth flow where when you clicked a button, when you're the administrator of a channel, when you clicked a button, you could authenticate that you were the administrator of that. Morning, Finian. Good evening, Finian, because you're on the other side of the planet. Super appreciated. And I was just saying, I don't know if you caught that I haven't had a chance to look at any of this stuff. We're going to read it now because it has been a bit of a week around here, been moving and stuff like that. So everything has waited until I've literally we're just about to dive into this. So, what we were trying to do was show a button when you were logged in, and you could say, yes, I want to administrate this YouTube channel through the Sunday Club application, and you could get a link, and that would kick off the Google OAuth flow. So that would say, hey, please log into your Google account, tell us which YouTube channel you want to manage. Great, okay. And then we could pass in this redirect URI, and we could have that bring back the code that Google were giving us. And I was struggling to get that working. And sorry, let me go back a step. The reason we want that code is so that our application can then administrate the videos on YouTube, and that might be changing the title, changing the description, or changing the thumbnail, which is where we're trying to head towards, because I haven't changed any of the thumbnails on the Sunday Club channel, so it would be cool to do them through the Sunday Club application. And that's what that flow, the final result of that flow allows us to do. It allows our application to administrate the YouTube channel. Now, we had had a stab of this in the previous week, and where I was getting stuck is this was all working, and there were two main, well, it wasn't working, but it was working up to a point. The YT gem was building our URL for us, and it would kick us off over to Google, and they would handle all the OAuth stuff, and it was like, yep, great. And also it would then bring you back to the redirect URI with the code. So we were getting the correct params coming back and we're like, okay, great, we've got this code. And the downside was, or what wasn't working, was that the code then wasn't allowing me to do what I wanted, to administrate those videos. And the other part was that I couldn't, in the short time that we spent looking at last week, figure out how to associate the channel with the code that was coming back, because you go off to YouTube and when you come back, we want to know that it's which channel you're trying to actually authenticate, because we don't have like a, channel ID equals 10 in the params that were coming back. So you can drop back to last week's channel if you look on YouTube, last week's stream, sorry, and you'll see all that stuff. Right, so Finian reached out and I've read the email but not clicked on any links. So he's built a demo that works correctly. Amazing. There's two primary components that are difficult to spot in the docs but make all the difference. The code property is an authorization code, which is intended to be swapped for a refresh token and an access token. I'm going to stop there for a second. So if you remember when we were doing the previous Twitch stuff, we had an app access token, which was persistent. And then we saw in the API docs where this like refresh token and access token stuff was. I think we saw that on the Twitch side. So this is part of this OAuth process. When the access token expires, the refresh token can be used to obtain a new access token. These two tokens should be stored against the resource. Okay, so this makes really good sense and I think is amazing. Where I'm getting totally confused on this, and I might just be being an idiot, is I thought that we had used the code the previous week to execute the commands. So that's where I was getting so lost last week, because we had the code come back, and rather than going to do anything with it, to going make a refresh token and access token, I thought we had just used it. And I was like, why can't I do this again? So I might take my own advice and go back and watch 2 weeks ago and see how we got that working, because we got a thumbnail swapped out, because you can actually see on the channel now, if you look at it, one of them is like some random unsplashed picture of Ruby, which happened through the application. So that's where I got lost, but this is obviously the proper way to do it, I'm assuming, so let's go and explore there. So you were missing the userinfo.email scope from the request, which allows you to access information about the user. Once I added this, I stopped seeing the errors you were. The gem obtains the token. Amazing. Right, okay, I'm going to come back to that comment in a second video. Okay, so this is something that we touched on last week. So the userinfo.email scope, if you remember, you can pass scopes through when you're building your URL. You can say, hey, here's the scopes I'm asking for, and they have to tie in, I think, with the scopes that you've asked for in the Google API dashboard. You have to say, I think you have to say in that dashboard, I've got it open on the other screen. Do you have to say on the OAuth consent screen what you're going to ask for? Can't remember. Edit application. Sorry, it's just on the other screen just for a second. Scopes. So if I click save and continue. Yeah, okay, so you have to, when you register your OAuth consent screen in the Google API dashboard, which basically tells Google, hey, I want to have this flow for my users, you have to tell them which scopes you're going to ask for, because they have different levels of like security or sensitivity or something like that. So one of the scopes is userinfo.email. And the reason that we were looking for that was because to answer that second question, which was, how are we going to tie this code back to this user? And so we went then passing this through, and we saw it in the docs, but I don't think we then kind of squared that circle and made everything work. So that's good. So once I added this, I stopped seeing the errors you were seeing. Amazing, great. Okay, so bonus points. There's a state parameter you can give Google, which they'll append to the URL when the user returns. Could be used for keeping track of which resource you're after, although it should probably be signed to prevent tampering. Right, this might solve the problem we've just been mentioning. When you kick off the flow, your user 123, and you are trying to authenticate channel, ABC, whatever, and you go off to Google, we then bring you back, and we need to know that it's channel ABC that you were trying to authenticate, so that we can store the tokens against the resource. As Finian says in step 1, the token should be stored against the resource. You might have 5 channels. We don't want you coming back to that API and to that that URI and to that. Remember, because it's our controller and our action. Which of your 5 channels do we save it against? So this could totally be how we do that. And if you aren't familiar with this idea of, although it should probably be signed to prevent tampering. So Rails has some built-in ways of doing that. Maybe we'll get time to do that, but I'm not sure. Where basically you can, gonna try and, is it the message verification? Well, I can't remember the name of it. So, we'll Google. We'll look it up later. So basically, you can say, "Hey, here's a piece of information," and you can define a key for it as well. And basically, like it will sign the piece of information and give you like a token back that you can then send off, and then only you can then read that token back because it uses your key to create it. So you know that it might only contain the ABC. That's all it might contain. But when you bring it back and you're then able to read that message, it says ABC, and you know that it's you because it'll be unreadable without the key. Basically, I've just butchered that. Sorry, it's been a really long week. But what Finian is saying there, it should be signed to prevent tampering. Is you should make sure when it comes back from Google that you know that it was what you sent off with Google, and signing it is the way to do that. I butchered it. Let's move on. Right, so Finian popped in the channel. He put oh wait, why has my chat disappeared? What has happened there? Hang on a second, let me go and look at YouTube. My chat has totally disappeared. What? It's been a really long week. It has been a really, really long week. Okay, my chat in both OBS and my dad is phoning me. Oh, amazing. My chat has disappeared. I think what Finian was saying, just go and look on YouTube, it's not there either. This is very strange. Okay. Finian, I've lost your chat message for some reason, and I'm not sure why. But I think what he was saying is that the gem is taking care of this for me. And so when we performed the action correctly, it was because the gem had done the work, I'm assuming, and we did have the appropriate token when we got it working, and I'd obviously done something differently the second week to not get it working. Now, what Finian has done like an absolute hero is provided demo. So you should be able to just drop your client ID and secret into the YouTube initializer to get it working. I found this page useful. Right, let's go and dive in over here. So we've got a repo here, and it's a full Rails app. Okay, so this is using the gem, and I'm assuming Finian has done the same thing as that I do every week and just left all his client ID and everything in here so we can take over his YouTube channel. Is that what we're doing here? I think that sounds right to me. No, there isn't even a YT one in there. Okay, so yeah, let's go and see. Where am I looking in this? Do I have can I just look at, always put everything in one commit. Okay, where am I looking at this? Okay, so there's a controller. OAuth controller. Okay, new. So this generates the new URL. I put them on I don't know if you were watching the end of last week's stream. They were on here. I had to go and delete that stupid OAuth thing and regenerate it afterwards. That was actually one of the questions I was asking right at the end of last week. Like, some people stream all of like their real applications and stuff. I've seen them on Twitch. I would get so paranoid about like showing that stuff, because you just know there would be people out there that would do something bad with it. I was wondering if there was like if you could do something cool with that, like in VS Code or something, you could have a path, a file. So you put everything in like like your .env file, or like Rails. They have those like encoded credentials or something. But maybe when you loaded up specific files, it showed it as like a frosted effect. And so you couldn't actually read anything, and it required like an additional like click or like, hey, are you sure you want to show this? Because that could be really cool for streamers where you're like, this code might be proprietary, or for some reason you don't want to show it, but you want to move with confidence through your code when you're streaming and stuff. So you could have like specific paths that were just frosted and required an extra click, or maybe a password or something. Maybe that exists, maybe not. Anyway, that's a total aside. So okay, this is our authentication URL. So let's tie Finian's code back to our code as well. So this authentication URL here, what we were doing with that is chucking it straight in our view. So this was our pink red button that if the channel didn't have an OAuth code, again, this is probably totally wrong, but we just wanted something working. If we don't have the code, then show this button. We can auth it. Where we got Safari. This adds state equals channel 12 to the query params and will be appended to the URL when the user returns to our app. So this is Finian's point around this state param being where I think he popped a link into here. So this, open this. Server-side web app. Is that mentioned in here? Yeah, this looks really helpful. We should have read this on the stream. I mean, we fumbled our way through. Oh, I made us fumble our way through here, but this is what we should have been doing, I think. Ruby options here. Redirect to there. So again, the YT gem is handling a lot of this stuff for us. Google prompts for consent. Cool. Handle of response. So that's what we were getting back in our params last week. And then this is the step that we weren't doing, presumably. After the web server receives the authorization code, it should exchange the authorization code for the access token. So does this, what I was actually looking for in here is whether it mentions state. I'm guessing if I search the word state, there's going to be loads of... Oh, here we go. State parameter pass-through value. Okay, cool. Interesting. Okay, cool. So... Where's this code? Back to here. Yep, so we've got the URL of here. So this is just adding, okay, it's just adding that onto the end there. So this then ends up with OAuth endpoint, which I assume is what renders in a button somewhere. Sorry, my throat is sore. Note the code is only valid for single use. So I'm just in this controller, so we've got a this code is only valid for single use. The fully access from refresh token should be stored against. So I'm reading one page and not the rest of it, but I'm assuming you're returning us back to the redirect OAuth URL, which I'm assuming is this show view. So you're coming back with code here. YT account new authorization code, redirect URI. Okay, no, this code is the redirect to show. Okay, so the code is only valid for single use and therefore the access and refresh token should be stored against the resource. So is... When you say the code is only valid for single use, do you mean that it's only valid to go and get the access and refresh tokens once? Or that it can be used to perform an action as well, or go and get refresh tokens. Correct. Okay, cool. So does this repo do that next step, or is that what we want to do now? So this creates an account, but presumably we need to go and get the access and refresh tokens. Or is what you're saying the gem has already got them? Oh, it's getting really hot. I'm so excited. It's summer. Oh, you're on Twitch today. Oh, okay. Sorry, Finian. I was looking on YouTube for your chat, and you're on Twitch. That's why the chat disappeared. Sorry. Cool. And we can just load them. It should work as intended. I think you can call account.access token or refresh token. Oh, okay, great. So, yeah, no problem. That was me. Great. So I think you can call account.access token or refresh token. Great. Can we go and look at the gem? Because that's what we were actually looking at. So this is all super useful for me to learn about. So this is what we were looking at previously. And we had... account. So when it had done the auth, so we can look in here, access token. Okay, let's just search for the repo for that. I'm just interested in how the gem is. So we were looking. Yeah, authenticate. So there's like has authentication, and then there's like a model for authentication. And this is where I was getting a bit lost last week. So it has the access token, and I wasn't quite sure. So it's expired or pending, but knows to look for the authentication. And then I'm assuming that has authentication. Is there more of this? I'm scrolling really quickly. So I think the has authentication was the thing that did the work. Yeah, and this is where we ended up last week. And I think I couldn't spot the point. So use refresh token. Okay, so what we're assuming there is that when we then call, well, we can play around, but account presumably then has okay, let's do this. Let's go and try and get this working. I think the YT gems are missing some coverage, especially surrounding OAuth. Okay. Let's I hope the moving is going well. Thank you very much, Finian. It's one of the things I didn't mention previously is that we're not just moving house. We are we're trying to get a rescue dog at the same time. And so if anyone has ever tried to move house and adopt a rescue dog in the same 3-week period, it's it's very stressful. And you wouldn't think it would be, because you'd be like, oh, this would be easy. We'll just have a dog and it'll be nice. But they have to come around your house and check that you're not, I don't know, a dog napper, I assume. They have to check that. And you have to have a fence and sort all that stuff out. Right, okay, so what did we do last week? We were totally... It's so exciting. We went and walked a dog yesterday, our new dog, and he's so exciting. And he is lovely. And he needs a bath because he's staying in kennels right now, and he needs a bath. No judgment, happens to the best of us. Right, this is where we got to. This is the create for when we come back. Right, so this is when. Right, so this is where I got stuck, and my Finian crossed the finish line. He got us over here. So, but this was working, so we have our code here, and what we need to do is store our access token and refresh token. Oh, and then I'm assuming, based on what we've just read in that gem, am I assuming that then if we always pass the account object the access token and refresh token, that it will just check to see if it's expired for us, and we never really need to worry about that. We always can just pass it to the gem, and it will handle the refreshing of the access token if we need it to. Oh no, because we would then need to still persist that. So no, we would still need the correct one. Or do you just always pass it the refresh token and say, well, fuck it, get another one every time? Don't know. Okay, so let's run this because everything should work, because I've put in all of the new... Yeah, okay, great. Okay, so we're not sure about that. That's good. Okay, so let's fire this up. I've put in I put in all the new client credentials into the YT gem config. So we should have the ability to go and load the channel up and the ability to run our OAuth stuff. So let's just run through our normal mess of setup, because we don't have any good scaffolding or seed data. So we get to do this every stupid week. And no, it's this one. That gives us this channel, and then we're just going to put in some dummy data here. Great, and then we'll just save this. And oh, is that every week? Every week, this streamer is always streaming. Like I'm assuming he's like a full-time person. Okay, amazing. This code, if you remember, checks to see whether that channel is live, and then shows it if it is or not. That's using Hotwire's TurboFrame's lazy loading. So props to that streamer for always being online at this time of day. Maybe he does a 90-minute a week stream as well, like me. But he seems to look angry about football whenever we turn that on. Right, so that's running, and then we want to run the running console. We want to run the thing that goes and gets... Oh, there's loads of stuff in here. I was hoping we could just get the one that populates. Yep, here we go. So this is the import channel thing. So that should then import all of the YouTube videos, which means that this page, when we refresh it, should have loads of stuff. Cool. So these are all the videos. And this is the one we had changed previously. So that's cool. We can go to then get channel.last.id. Again, we've done this every week because we haven't bothered to build anywhere where you could actually be useful and have a link to it. It would take 2 seconds, but we'll never do it out of, at this point, stupidity. So yay. So remember, this is our control panel area. I can only access this because I'm logged in. All of that fun stuff. And we have a YouTube, add YouTube button, which is we looked at earlier, which is what our show template uses. And I think we can just kick this off. And what did we have in our params when you actually, in our controller when it should come back? So we spit out the params, and then we had a pry. And then we could kick this off. And then, right, so we think that we can play with a count, and we might be able to do like a count dot. Oh, actually, do we want to... right, let's add that scope in that Finian was talking about as well. So I've got to add in the user info.email. And what I have just realized is that I'm assuming adding it in here is not enough. I also need to add it in the Google dashboard thingy, I'm assuming. So I'm just going over to do that now. Add or remove scopes. User info.email. User info.profile. Get some of that good personally identifiable information that we all love to have, undoubtedly for some sort of marketing purposes. Cool, so I can save that, save and continue. Back to dashboard. I hope that hasn't reset the client secret. No, I think it's good. Okay, cool. So I've added this scope to the Google API dashboardy thing. It's got OAuth consent screen on it. And this one as well. So now we can refresh this view and we should see that scope available in the path that we're trying to get to. Yep, right on the end there, userinfo.email. So we should be good with that one. And we're going to come back to the control panel YouTube OAuth URL, which is a special controller in action that we've set up that I don't think shows anything when it's successful. I think it'll be a blank white screen. And we'll save this code, but as we're about to discover, that's fairly pointless because what we really care about is the access token and the refresh ID. So let's kick this off. It's this one. You didn't add, oh, and it still it did work. Okay, so Finian in the chat has popped in that he didn't add the scope to the app in the Google console, but didn't read, but I didn't read everything I was supposed to. That's actually the tradition for all Sunday Club stuff is read some of the docs. Right, so we should be in server hit. Great. Okay, so this thing here, this should still be correct, right? This line here. So let me just pull this up and bump the font size up a little bit. Okay, so I'll paste that in. What does this do? Great, so we get account. Amazing. Okay, so we've got authorization code and redirect URI. And access token is nil and refresh token is nil. But if we call that dot access token, is this populated when we call this? Oh, amazing. Am I supposed to be putting that on the stream right now? Is that? No, because you need the client ID to do anything with it, right? Right? Yeah. Amazing. Right, that was totally what was missing. So then we do... then refresh. That's your code. Yeah, that's my code, but you need the client ID to act with that code, right? Right? Don't steal my YouTube channel because I need it. It's the only thing I have to do on Sunday mornings. Refresh. I hope so. That's not helpful. Refresh token. Yeah, because you have to put in... Yeah, you can't... I don't think you can just take it... Right, refresh token is up. So only when we call those methods on the account. So we were so close, I think, last week. Maybe we weren't. But when we instantiate this account with our YT account new and give it the code, the access token and refresh token were nil. And it's when calling these methods that they get populated. And we looked at the code that was doing that, but I couldn't really understand it because I'm not very smart. And it then goes, right, so these are the things that we now need to store. And then this brings us back to, I didn't test out we'll have to do the state one in a minute, the one that Finian demoed in his application. Which is which channel should this be persisting against? But however, we bumped into that middle question is, right, now we have an access token and a refresh token. The access token is going to expire, presumably, and there was a method that we saw in the gem, which was like, has this expired, blah, blah, blah. And the refresh token is the thing that allows it to refresh. Now, I'm assuming that you can always use the refresh token to get a new access token. So at any point you could say, hey, give me a new one. But I'm assuming there's a performance cost to always doing a refresh. You're basically doing a full visit there and then waiting and then getting it back and doing all of that stuff. So perhaps you could always pass the refresh token and always get a new key every time. But I'm assuming you don't do that and you use the actual access key until it is needs to be refreshed, and then you take the performance hit of the action not working, refreshing the token really quickly and then retrying it. And again, I'm assuming that it's in your request, rescue, retry stuff that you make that call. So let's just go and look at our YT gem stuff over here. So let's just let's go straight back to the docs themselves. This is, I think, Finian had a good point. Like here, there wasn't a. This all worked. So, so this all worked here. We had this. Let's just check account.email. Yeah, my email's already been on the screen, so that ship has sailed. Oh, you get a fancy one. I have no idea where that goes. Google Plus. Cool. Okay. I don't know what happens if you email that email address. That's not my email address. Okay, cool. If you don't have the accounts access token, but you have the refresh token, yes. Okay, cool. Then it's almost as easy. In the find the application we used to obtain the right. So you can just pass the refresh token every time. And the third one is you need to go and get them. Just pass the code to the following method to authenticate and initialize the account. Yeah, there's a step missing there, isn't there? That in the docs, there's the step that Finian filled in for me personally, which is like, great, this will work, but you then have to save the. I mean, I guess you should be able to infer it from the first part, which is that hey, you need the access and refresh tokens, but I'm not smart enough to realize that I should have saved them there. I wonder if we should put a PR into these docs. Maybe it might help someone else not get stuck. Just pass it. So initialize the account, which is exactly what happens. So account.email will get a fancy one. Account.videos, blah blah blah. Right, let's go fix this. We're gonna do this really quickly, really roughly. So I think we just ditch out of that. Yeah, I think we're out. So the browser's probably just got this. Okay, cool. And we can go back loads of steps. I called the server, so that could be a URL we go back to. Great. So I'm now assuming that we never persist this code. We bring it back in this when we get the redirection back. Potentially, I wonder if you store it locally to in case you have an internal exception, like you could store a list of ones that come back against the resource in case you have a problem here. So you try and do this, and then you've got problems on your end. I don't know what, something goes wrong. You could then, I don't know, yeah, I mean, you'd probably do your retry here straight away if something went wrong, I would guess, because it doesn't matter that it's going to take a little while because you're only going to do this once. It's not every time. But you could also, I guess, sounds like an awful idea, actually. I'm guessing you could save them and then try it again, I don't know, 30 seconds later if you thought there was a problem, but then that would be shit because you couldn't show the user the actual confirmation that the thing had happened. So no, I'm guessing that's single use. And if it fucks up and you don't retry, you send the user back again and say, look, sorry, click the button again, go around the circle again, soz. Cool. Okay, so that's single use. So what that means is that the migration we built commits are super up to date on this branch. Great. Just so YouTube OAuth code, YouTube, right, so this is wrong. So not wrong, but we just don't want, we want the access token and the refresh code. Okay, so can we I left my phone in the other room. So bin rails db rollback. I just want to only go back. Okay, amazing. So they're gone. So we're just going to adjust this, and so we want YouTube OAuth access token and YouTube OAuth refresh token. Remember, we spoke about last week, I think this was, maybe the week before. We didn't really put any thought into the design of this. Oh damn, that's a new command to commit to my memory. I'm for running status copying the last name running DB migrate version. The step one, super useful. That is good shout out. If you run DB rollback, you can say how many steps you would like to roll back, and you learn that that is an option when you regularly fuck these up. So as we said, speaking of fucking up the migrations, we didn't do any design on this, so we didn't think through loads of good options as to where to put these. We mentioned that you might want to have a model for them. We kind of talked it through. So the fact that we're saving these directly on the channel is just a quickie design. So like if you're designing something in your own app, you would probably do something smarter and more resilient. We just chucked them on here just for just to make it quick. And we're going to do the same thing here. So then we can pop these in here. So I'm hoping we didn't do anything with those. I'm hoping we just like we're planning on using them in here. Okay, so we can close this. And then what we want to do is I'm not going to worry about saving that email right now. We're just going to do this. So we can do we'll do OAuth code. We're not going to save that anymore. We want refresh. So, oh, come on. Refresh token, and that's now going to be account dot refresh token, and then the same thing again, and we're going to do access token. I'm going to do no error handling, and I'm going to do no we should come back and touch on what we would do, but we just want to get this working for now really quickly. I don't know what @channel was doing. That we don't care about. That we don't really care about for now. We can come back to that. But what we can do is test out. Let's just move this onto another line. It's pretty messy. Just to fit this all slightly on, I should bump the font size up. Whoa, okay, a lot. And it was it state? Right, state. So what we can put in here, I'm going to put it in unsigned, and then we're going to come back and talk about signing it, because I think what Finian has touched on there is really useful to know for people. So let's just put channel ID, because we were associating it so closely with the channel. And then, that was why there was a random channel in here. How does it know what channel to be? Okay, so channel. So we don't have params channel ID anymore because we had to. So we took this out. So we can actually we can lose all of this. We'll just do it all in line. This is all from last week, so go back if you want to see how we got to where that was. And here what we can do is say params state, because this is the channel ID. And again, this is not a good design. Do not do this. You would sign it or do something. I guess if you sign it, you could do this, but you might want to just check that it was you would do something to check this. I'm just passing some random thing from a third party through as a find mechanism, which is fine. It wouldn't need to be sanitized or anything, but you probably don't want to do this. So this loads the channel up based on this, which should be the ID of the channel, because we're setting it now on the URL, and we think that YouTube will just Google will just pass that back correctly. We then set the refresh token, set the access token, and then we save it. We're going to pry, so we can go through all that manually anyway. So let's dive straight back in, kick our server back off here. Oh, okay, we were using that. So we can just use the, I guess we can use the refresh token one. Again, I'm not really thinking that through. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but it'd be populated somehow, I guess. So we're going to go off. Oh, we're in a prior, sorry. Cool. Okay, so now we go account equals all this stuff. So initialize it. Great, we now have this account. So what is params state? We think it should be like 37 or 38 or something. Bugger. It is nil. What are the params? Oh, damn, we didn't get state back. Did I not save it or... I don't think the gem handles adding the state param. Okay. Is that why that... okay, right, let's just go. So I'm taking Finian's words from the chat. So basically, in his code here, which I have lost, here he is having to add the... Right, I wanted... Okay, right. So I added my state in here, in the builder where the gem is building the authentication URL. That hasn't worked because the gem doesn't handle that. It handles adding the scopes and handles adding the redirect URI. So what Finian is doing here in his code is adding it himself. So he's taking the URL that the gem has given him back and then adding in, like merging in the state thing that he wants. Let's just do what he's doing. And was I doing it straight in the view? Damn. Okay, we can do it next. Okay, let's come back to that. Let's just check we've got our access token and whatnots. So we don't. So we can just fake it. We can just say @channel equals channel.last for now. So we can assume that would have worked. So let's assume that worked. Great. Whatever. So now it's these next lines that we care about, which is @channel.YouTube OAuth refresh token equals account.refresh token. So we can run that. Right, that has gone off to get all of that information and now has it assigned. We can then say in here, do the same for the access token. Great, do that. That's amazing. Okay, it's done the same thing. And then we do @channel.save. I'll put a bang on the end just in case something goes wrong. No, it's worked. Great, they've got things in there. So I'm going to just come out of that. That will then fail because it couldn't find a channel with that ID, which is fine because we don't have that state. So let's get that working. Let's do what Finian did and just move this to the controller. So that is going to be in our control panel. Channels controller, I think. Keeping that there, and we could say we could lift all of his code, can we? And we can just steal all of this. Again, we're not doing anything for tidiness or brevity or anything like that. We're just doing it to get it working. So you will need to, if you want to ever use any of this, decide which bits you want to tidy up. And we then want to go and steal the bits from here that we cared about. All of that was us. That could go, so let's break the bit. And we don't want this bit. And this can go, and this all gets assigned to OAuth endpoint. That can then just be linked to OAuth endpoint. So let's check that that works now. So we should be able to go all the way back to here, refresh this page. This channel is linked to a YouTube account. Great, let's flush that back out. So that's perfect. That means that the things we got from YouTube are saved correctly against this. So we can just do let's just update it manually. Got that, as nil. And we want this one as nil. We're just resetting these back to nothing so that we can get the flow back. So that's reset to nil. So then when we refresh this view, this button should come back. Wait, what? Channel dot last. Oh, is my console out of date? It might not know about those two fields. Yeah, cool. So now this should be show the button. Great. So now we're back in our flow. Oh, no, wait, we didn't check it. So let's load this back up. And I'm just going to bump the font size up in this console because it is tiny. Great. So we want the... Where is this link taking us? Oh, this is huge. And the button... Safari does not do well in this scenario at all. Turn that off. I want a little... Where's the little... Oh, it's here. Sorry. So this button here. Right, so you can see at the end here, we've got state equals 38. So we've got everything else that we wanted in the URL. And then we've got and equals state 38. So that's Finian's code, which is just appending that this state on there. We could go and take a look in the gem as to why that's not happening. Maybe there's something that they have around that. We could just look in there. Oops. Link somewhere. Just see if it gets mentioned anywhere in the search. No. Okay. Here we go. Here's a PR. Add it in state. Oh, that means state. Okay, that means a whole other thing. Still missing the login hint and state params. Okay, that's from 2015 and still isn't supported. So if anyone wanted to add that to that gem, I think you could. I think you could add it. That could be a fun PR for someone who is willing. I'm not going to do that because I don't time. But it could be fun to do. Right, okay, so we've got param state because we think we're going to get that through. Let's go through our flow again. Close this, go off to YouTube, call this one, get stuck and go back to here. So now when we have param state, what do we have? Boom, 38, which means that this, just do, next should work. Oh, is it because it's a control one? I don't want to go step or go into the whole thing. Let's just do it manually again. So I'll just do it twice. Count, great. Channel is fine, param state. Boom, we have our channel, and then we've already tried the next two. These should work. So if we command D, boom. Okay, great. So we have updated our channel with our access token and our refresh token. Super duper exciting. Now, where is that? Oh, we just have a blank page. Okay, so now that we're happy, so we could say if channel.save. So we could now just, you would do again usual stuff that you wouldn't actually do. We're just going to send you. Oh, else just show the error. I don't know, something. and what we're going to do is send you back to the channel so that we have a cool experience. And we can go and get that from our routes, which is like control panel channel path. And we can put in there, we could say, I don't know if we even bothered implementing flashes. Let's try. I think we did. Authenticated YouTube channel for channel whatever. Again, you would actually write something that was better than that, but I'm just trying to get it done. So let's clear those out again. Let's go back to our console and clear them out. We're just going to go around in that circle one more time because it works and it's just so exciting that it's worth doing a couple of times. Refresh this. And this is the page you want to come back to with a flash notice. We're going to come through our OAuth flow. We should have removed our pry. We're going to just drop straight out of our pry. And then we should be... Oh, I didn't give it the... Oh, did it not infer the channel? Okay. Fine, and then we can kill the pry as well. Sorry. Just do that again really quickly. Again, let's clear our channel. Back to the bottom of this. Go back again. This is good. Kick this off. Around we go. Back we come. Ba, 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 ba. Authenticated YouTube channel for channel 38. And in our console, channel.last. I super appreciate it. It's genuinely actually exciting. Right, now we've got them. Amazing. We've got an access token, got a refresh token. Let's go back. So we think that we could just pass it. So let's go back. I want to go back to the docs of this YT gem because it mentions in the middle one, it gives 3 options. And in the middle one, scenario 2, you can manage a YouTube account by passing the refresh token to the account initializer, such as. If you don't have the account's access token, but we do, but you have the refresh token, then it's almost as easy. Right, so here's what I'm assuming. We just pass the access token and refresh token every time. And then if the access token is expired, the gem should take care of the refresh token. I am basing that on no knowledge whatsoever, and I haven't gone to look at the code. We've kind of skimmed it before, and I didn't see that in practice. But that's what I'm assuming would happen because there was like expired ? Method or something like that. So when we then want to do something, and what do we want to do? Right. So I forgot why we were actually doing any of this stuff. We want to have our callback change the real life video after making a change on Sunday Club. Let's do that now that we have all of this stuff. So I'm going to close Finian's email down. I'm going to, right, before I do that, because I will not remember otherwise, I'm going to pop this link. If you're watching on Twitch, there is a version of this video on YouTube, and I will post this in the Finian's GitHub URL. I'm going to post this in the description. And then I'm going to post this as well. Useful YouTube docs. Cool. I'm going to post that in there as well. Hit save. Amazing. So I'm just going to close this out. Save that. That's fine. And let's do the thing we were going to do. So on a video, this is where we started, I think. What do we have on a video? What is a video? Right, we do have the external ID, which I'm assuming is the YouTube ID. So what I'm wondering is, if we make a change to a video in the Sunday Club application, so we've linked our account, amazing. We then have all of our videos in here, and they're all looking sharp, and we can edit them using turbo streams and all of our fancy stuff. So when we make the edit, we should do this first one here. What if we could then see that appear immediately on YouTube? So how would we do that? Let's do a really rough, no design, simplified version. We could do that potentially with a callback on the model. And what we could do initially is put it in line so that it saves at the same point where we save the model. And then we could discuss how we would put it in a background job and all of that stuff. So let's just do a really dumb version of this. So what's going to happen is after this model has been saved, we're going to call a method called update YouTube video. And what I think we can do using that external ID field is I think we can do this. We haven't looked into this at all. It might not work. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mention Finian's note in the chat. So Finian said, as usual, it's not production code. Your mileage may vary. So, and he hopes that it's useful for someone. Yep. As with all of our code, this is just hopefully to keep someone moving as they trawl the internet in the years to come, looking for something to do with YouTube OAuth. But your mileage very much may vary. So we are hoping that from this has like a little like get video thing, doesn't it? It has like video is like a thing you can initialize, I think. Can't remember. So name, is it YT video dot new ID? Okay, great. Title, comment calendar. So let's get this up. So I want YT video. And I'm assuming I can call wait. Oh, here we go. Videos, great. Okay, yep. This, and I'm assuming I can then just call save. Oh, so this one does all just, look, this one just, bump the font size up a little bit. Does just pass it with a refresh token. Use the account's refresh token. So I'm guessing it gets a new access token every time. So my first guess was that there was a performance implication to that. So I don't know how long the access token lasts. Is it a number of uses or is it a timestamp? And I'm guessing if you just pass a refresh token, it doesn't matter. And maybe you... Yeah, my thinking was if you pass both, it would default to the access token and otherwise it would do a refresh. Which totally wouldn't work. Is what I'm assuming is expired by can be calculated locally, like it knows when it's expired. If you had to make a request to find out if it was expired, you'd be like, hey, is this expired? You may as well use the refresh token every time because it would cost you the round trip every time to find out if it was expired. Then you'd have to make another one to do the refresh. So yeah, okay, maybe you just use the refresh token every time. Okay, so well, this is this is basically all we need here. So in our callback, so our video has a channel, I think. Yep, belongs to channel, and that channel has something to do with refresh token. Something refresh token. Oh, it's in the OAuth one, isn't it? No, that's the Twitch one. I don't know where we actually. Oh, here we go. YouTube OAuth refresh token, great. So let's just make that a bit more readable with some brackets. Okay, so then we create an account. So again, we're doing this inline. So this is not what we would do in real life. We're just going to do this as a quick test. So after it's saved, it's going to instantiate an account, which is the YT account class. And we're passing it a refresh token, and the refresh token is coming from the associated channel. So again, you would need to check that that existed and do all of the right due diligence and good work, blah, blah, blah. And then what we would do... So this, my memory of this is that like thumbnail had its own endpoint, right? So like you didn't set the URL on the video. You actually called like .update thumbnail. So what are the... Right, here we go. So any other, so that's read, tags, ring, updates. Here we go. Update, upload thumbnail, and delete. Right, update works with title, tags. I'm assuming it works with description as well. So video.update. Okay. Oh, and we need, we also need to instantiate the video. So, wait. Wait, what? So how am I doing this? So this gives me the account, but what I also want, video equals YT video. And then I want it to be the external ID. Okay, so we've got the video. And when I call video.update, what's the bit at the top tell me as to how I tell it which account it's for? Video equals, so a content owner. Some methods act on behalf of YouTube content owners, e.g. fetching the owners. To use these methods, marked with this below. No, these ones below. Yeah, at the top there. Yeah, so you give it the account. Okay, so client ID, client said blah, blah, blah. So then you get the account. So auth equals account. Okay, so, oh, this is, okay, so this makes more sense. So that we've seen this as well. Okay, so cool. A new ID and then auth equals account. Great. So here, auth, account. So now this video knows to use this refresh token, access token, stuff like that when we tell it to do stuff in the docs that's marked with purple. Acts on behalf of YouTube content owners. That's it. So content owners and account owners are two different things. Okay. So that's fine. And then what did we want it to do? We wanted to do video.update. And video, we saw that it took title. What's video and so title, license, and tags. Does it show you a full list of things it will take? Tags, category ID, privacy status, public stats viewable, embeddable, license, published at. Interesting. Okay, amazing. So we could have all of these as options in the control panel area here. So that we've only got title, description, rich description, and custom thumbnail, but we could have other stuff in there as well. We could add more cool stuff. And again, we can go and read that when we get the on our initial importers. So hopefully all of this is kind of coming together and people, if they've followed this through, can see how it all ties together. What do we want to do? We want to do title and description. That's all we really care about. Title and description, they're just called that. I have forgotten why we have description and rich description. Is one just... so I'm assuming we've called these title and description. Yep, so title is title. And description is... Right, one is this, right, one is action text, isn't it? Yeah, okay, right, I remember that. Okay, so one is action text, and that uses like so video equals video.last, video.rich description. I think we'll go and get, yeah, look, it's actually going to do an extra load. And Body. Okay, so if I just do description, does it have like line breaks and stuff in it? So let's go and find. Let's go and find like there was hard. Let's go and find last week's video. So let's not do this one. Let's do last week's because I. Oh, that's this one. So that's how much description I wrote this one. Oh, okay. We can do this. We can do this week's. Okay, yeah. This makes total sense because I've hardly done any. I've hardly written any description. Oh, amazing. So this is now a perfect example of where our webhook stuff would be really important. Okay, so streams ago we talked about versioning and keeping the two versions in sync. I have just on this stream gone and added in Finian's link to the video description. So let me just let me pull this up in here so we can see what the actual video description looks like. So this is a perfect example of how you're going to trip yourselves up when you do this, because everybody does. So let's close this. Okay, okay. Just zoom out a little bit. So I have added in these since doing the import. So in the Sunday Club application, we have nearly finished it, and then the links that get added every week. In the actual video, we have nearly finished it, and then these lines here. If we do an update from the local version we now have, we would remove this content. And the reason we were looking at adding the webhook code in is that we needed for YouTube to tell the application that it had been updated in order to keep that in sync. And then when you then clicked edit in the application, that code would be there. That content would be there. And what you're dealing with when you have two systems that can perform writes on the same resource is that you're going to have these kind of race condition issues where like who wrote what first. The webhook was delayed by 20 minutes because the handler wasn't listening, and then this person updated it and then updated on YouTube. So then you get another webhook telling it that it updated, but it actually has a piece of content missing. And that is where the rub is. That's the fun of the whole thing. And I say fun, I mean wild frustration and loads of mitigating code. But that's why building a system that integrates with a third party so closely is such a pain in the ass. It's a little bit easier if you don't have to deal with the double write issue. So if you're just taking information in or just pushing information out, you don't really care. But this idea of you can change things on both sides can really screw you over. What we also talked about was versioning in the Sunday Club application. So what you could do is you would still get that webhook through, presumably that a change had been made. You could show all the previous versions, and if something got lost, it would at least be saved somewhere. But again, you're then passing the burden of that onto the user, which sucks. So the idea is like get it right the first time. Things you'd have to bear in mind for that: either platform going down for any prolonged period of time, webhooks being delayed, webhooks being sent more than once, like identical ones being sent more than once, making sure that you're handling that stuff. Like writes being done on both sides at the same time, like literally at the same time with the same timestamp. All of that stuff and a million more things. So yeah, this is like just triggering a bunch of stuff firing off in my brain. So let's can we build delete? We did not build delete. Okay. Well, let's jazz this up ourselves. Okay, so this is our. Oh, these don't have the full URLs on it. I can get the full URL because I can just click here, and then I can get this. I can copy this and get back. Right. So then what we can do is this video is going to start, isn't it? So let's pause that because it'll play in my headphones otherwise. And what we can do is change it in here. Oh, so this does have the line breaks in it and stuff. Okay, great. So we can pop that in there. Great. Did I hit save on that callback? No, okay, because I haven't finished. So in here, we only need description. So this did have the line breaks and stuff, we hope. And we'll see what happens. And then that makes the call. I think we could just pry this. Like, let's just go and see what happens, I think. No idea what's going to about to happen. Right, okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to add another line, and we're going to put updated from the app. With 2 exclamation marks, because we're super amazingly excited about it. And then we're going to hit update video. Oh my god, is this stupid turbo stream stuff not happening? Because... why does that not work? Okay. Why does that not work? Oh. Our WebSocket connection got closed, is that why, do we think? Oh, apologies for loads of spam appearing on the stream. It's Twitch spam. So I'm going to just copy this out. I'm going to refresh this. Okay, it's trying to do count.google. I'm not 100% sure what the hell is going on there. I don't know what's happening there. Let's go back in there. Oh, sugar, it did work. Okay. And then keyword auth. Okay. It's now trying to do this every time. I think that might have just... No, unknown keyword auth. Okay. Is it trying to do that every time? Okay, so I've killed... I've broken the application. Nobody panic. Great. Let's just drop out of that. Why are we hitting that callback every time? Do they get updated all of the time? That seems weird. Let's take the pry out and just spit some debugging stuff out. So, oh, it's after save. Wait, no, we don't save them every time. We are in the after save callback. Just putting some debugging stuff in here. Messy as usual. Let's start our server back up. Let's kill our console as well. I didn't think we only hit save on that once, so let's try get back to where we were. So we were in control panel, channels 38, I think. Okay, great. So nearly finished it. Edit this. And in here, we can paste. So this is updated from the app. And I'm going to hit update video. Okay, so so that's why the button wasn't working with it. So unknown keyword auth. Oh, is that not the right... Sorry, let's go back a step. And it was video... It was up here. It's new ID. It's not that you pass it. You have to actually do ID as auth. Sorry, ID as... New ID auth, like that. So you have to pass it a hash. Sorry. I think maybe I saw that you could do one as just new with the ID, but then if you wanted more than one param, I'm guessing you had to pass the hash in. So, yep, sorry. Let's... Oh, and then it was because I clicked the button 57,000 times, I'm guessing. Let's go back. So now if we click, does it happen again? Oh, okay, wow. Okay, it's firing through. What happened? So many renders. So many renders. Right, stuff happened. We hit that. No, that's different debugging stuff. Because it doesn't have the we hit. We're in the after save callback. Yes, we did hit that bit. And then... Okay. So... But it hasn't added our little thing in there. It has added our thing in there. Oh, it doesn't update our rich description? Oh, whoops. Whoops. Okay, so we only showed rich description there, not description. Okay, yep. This is the problem with working on such a messy application. So the real test will be is that changed on here? The description, I mean. Oh my god, the greatest thing that has ever happened in the history of coding has occurred. We have made a change on our YouTube channel from our application with valid OAuth credentials that we had gone and got ourselves. Amazing. Now, that's so cool. Like, that's amazing. Like, we could just end it there and I would be super happy. But we're going to just do a last check, which is not last check, but a last kind of run through. So this works but sucks. So why does this suck? Well, for one, you wouldn't want your yeah, just drop the mic now. Like, we've done it. We've got the the application kind of does what it was supposed to do now. You can the only thing that we've really never gone back and done is add the Twitch login to the site setup. So as you go through, you can actually like tell it your Twitch ID, and then it would have to go and find all that login nonsense and stuff, and you can do that. And then we talked about using delegated types and blah blah blah. Like, people can figure that stuff out. But why does this suck? So you do not want. It is very likely that you do not want a dependency on a third-party update as part of a active record callback. And what I mean by that is when we're doing after save, this is then going off to YouTube, dealing with all of this refresh token nonsense, checking that the video has this exists with and has access to it, and then it's trying to perform the update, and then it's waiting for it. What you would do is have this running as a job that could be performed in the background. And again, that then handles or then creates loads of stuff that you as the developer, as the engineer need to handle, which is like, okay, what happens if that fails? That means you've got a version that has saved correctly in active record, but that has not updated correctly on the third party. So maybe YouTube's down, or I don't know, user revoked the permissions or something like that. This then creates yet another point in which the two systems go out of sync. Your local description is now changed, and the third-party one hasn't. And during that period, you could then have the third-party service someone update the description there 1, 2, 3 n times, and they could all come back as updates waiting to be performed on your system, or they work. So now your version that you're trying to push back over there could be several versions out of date with both local and remote writes. So your resilience has to kick in at that level. So you could save, I mean, just loads of stuff you could do. You could save each change as like a record of change to be performed, and then check a timestamp as to when each one was performed, either locally or on the third-party service, and then only go through them chronologically. So you won't perform a write that goes back over a previous one. That would create a really confusing experience for the end user, because they would see an old thing, but they know they've changed it 3 times since then. You're like, why are you showing me the old one? Well, it's because this one hasn't worked. You could assume that anything newer is corrector. I know correct is not is writer, and say, okay, well, you know, last change wins, and this one, as long as we told the user there was a problem updating it, and then they changed it somewhere else anyway. So much stuff you could do. I'm missing a million different options, but these are all things you have to think about. Right, what else do we have to think about here? This isn't going to work for changing the thumbnail of the video. Why isn't it going to work? Because that has a separate endpoint in the gem. And what do I mean by that? I mean that here we could do video.update title and description. However, for the thumbnail, which I am going to keep talking until I accidentally scroll past where it is. It is not here. it's somewhere. I'm just going to search for thumbnail URL. Upload thumbnail. So here you have to call video.update, but here you have to call video upload thumbnail. So if you change the thumbnail but call update, nothing will happen. So here what you would presumably want to do is create your account and then create your video. And then you could do, says you have title description. Again, this is really rough. You wouldn't write the code like this, but you could say if Trying to remember the active record dirty API, but I think it's like that. I think it's like that. You basically Rails can tell you which property changed, and you can look at the dirty API. So it's like which attributes on this model changed. I think you can just do name of attribute underscore changed question mark. So then what you can do is, I am assuming that active storage supports that API. I have no idea. So this is total pseudocode at this point because I don't know if this would work. But here you would then need to do this, which would be... did it have a video to upload thumbnail? No, you just pass it the URL. So this would then be custom thumbnail dot URL, I'm assuming. So, oh my God, can we try this? Where's that stupid Ruby picture that I had the other day? Did I save it somewhere? Oh, I bet I didn't. It was like... It was like an Unsplash picture, and then I typed in Ruby, I think. Let's use a new one. This one. Oh, okay, let's use this one. So, can we just... Can we do this? How big will that show up? Okay, great. Now how big that width 500. So can we do like 800? Cool. So we're just going to borrow this Unsplash image. Unsplash, by the way, these are all like license free, so you don't need to worry about using them. So we've got this picture, and what we would pass in here is our thumbnail.url, but because I'm only working locally, YouTube won't be able to access that. I would basically be passing it like localhost blah blah blah, or like a file path or whatever. So what we can do is kind of like pseudocode this by just passing it this thing I just googled really quickly. So I have no idea if that's going to work, but we can change the thumbnail to, oh, we can still use this file. We can just pretend. So we can save that there. And then what we could do, again, I haven't actually checked whether this API works. So let's find out what happens here. Let's just try it. Let's just try it without any more thought. Okay, so in here, and then do. I'm just gonna do this off screen in case this something weird shows. No, okay, it'll just be this. Okay, so then desktop, that photo. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back. Yeah, cool. So photo, upload that one. It picks that one. Update video. Presuming that's now broken. Ah, damn it. Okay, so that is not the dirty API for active record. Okay, so for active storage, sorry. Oh, here we go. So this is from Finian in the chat. Anecdote. I'm relatively sure the gem actually retrieves the image URL itself and uploads the raw data. So using a local URL. Oh, okay, interesting. So what Finian is saying there is that if I did pass it a local path, the gem is actually doing some fancy work there, and uploads the data from the file. It doesn't just pass the YouTube the URL. Okay, so what we want to do is active storage dirty. If you would like to know before the object is saved, if you would like to know after the changes have been committed, the only solution I've found so far is to check the blob, object.image.blob.saved changes. And I'm assuming it's not image, so I'm assuming it's I'm assuming, again, I have not really worked with this very much, but I'm assuming it's that. Again, not going to bother checking it. Let's just run it and assume that we can figure this thing out. So if we run that again, close this, just update video and then load our terminal. something happened. Undefined method, each key for string. Video update YouTube video. Oh, interesting. It was trying to do something. Trying to look at what actually happened there. So update video. So that all went through. Yeah, grab the file. Should put in here. Like. So I'm trying to work out where we actually got to. The changes were saved there. Okay. So Control 11 in update. Oh, and exactly. I didn't even use the right API. The whole point of that was because they used different API endpoints, and I didn't actually use the right API. Not API input, but like a method. Sorry. I didn't use the right one, so it's actually upload thumbnail. Okay, so that guess worked, and then I hadn't got the code right after the guess. So. Oh my god, is this going to work? Update video. Something magic. Right, now if you remember, this took ages to propagate on the YouTube side last time. So I was paranoid it hadn't worked. So this, in line, if we just look at what's happened here, should have gone and done a bunch of stuff to... I'm assuming that we don't hit that if we don't save it. So how can we know if this has worked or not? We can go to the channel. This didn't work last time, so we went to the channel and looked at all of the videos. Oh my god, that time it's worked straight away. So we can now change the description and the title and the thumbnail all from the YouTube application. It will handle none of the complexities of which side updates it last and which side updates it quickly. So if we go in here and if we were to just quickly pause this video, if we were to edit this video, our webhooks, oh no, wait, hang on a second. Wait, have we overwritten this? Have we overwritten that? It's not there. So this might be exactly what we were talking about. Oh, what does it send? Does it send rich description? That should have sent description. Let's hit update video on that, but that wasn't changed. So on here, we don't have the updated on app line. But we did have it when we were looking. Wait, we did have it earlier. So did we ever write it when we were doing the active record change, or is it just is there a lag on YouTube side? Oh, okay, interesting. So it has changed here when we're viewing the video, but not when we're editing the video. Whoa, that's blowing my mind. Are we looking at the same video here? Yeah, because I just clicked through. Wrapping up our OAuth stuff. Interesting. So is this what the issue we were facing when we couldn't see the thumbnail either? Changed here immediately, didn't change in here. Is there some sort of lag? Who cares? It works on here. Right, so let's check it works again. Let's do one final test, then we're going to wrap it up for the day. Updated from the app for real this time. Another exclamation mark. Update the video. Again, that doesn't show there because this is the rich description and we're only showing the actual description. Something action text. In here, refresh this. This is the real one facing out. Okay, it's not there this time. Do this one. It might be a lag. Let's not panic. Nobody panic because we didn't get an error. Nothing in this one. Neither. Okay. Let's give it another second. We'll just do a hard refresh on this. Super exciting. Still not there. Okay. Let's see if we got anything in the logs. This is this huge render. Oh no, we had it working. Oh, wait. Let's check that the title or description were changed. Again, just super high-tech debugging techniques. So in here, we're going to edit this again. Then we're going to look for that line. So we've got for real this time. And then we'll put like for mega real this time. So we can hit that. And then we can go and look in our logs. And we should see that the title or description was changed. That's the debugging line we're looking for. Because that might explain why otherwise it's not. Again, because I didn't look that API up. So mega real this time. So we did update the description, but we never hit that debugging line. Right. Okay. So someone should have gone to check this because it's possibly not correct. Let's just check. I guess one last thing working. So Rails. API. Will do. So underscore change is what I thought we were looking for. Doesn't change no. So changed attributes changes. So you can do change attributes include. Saved change to attribute. The behavior of attribute changed inside of after callbacks will be changing the next version of Rails. The new version reflect both the behavior. Okay, use save change to attribute. Okay, cool. Sorry, probably should have looked that up. Let's see if this one works. Title. And description. So then we can go back in. And then we'll be like, make this a bit bigger. Or mega ultra real. I'm going to run out of those real quick. I think we saved that. So in here. The title or description were changed because we had the wrong API previously. So, oh my God, wow, that had changed without even refreshing. Does that change in real time? I didn't even refresh it. For mega ultra real this time, yes. Okay, and then we refresh the edit page for the same video and nothing. Interesting. Okay, don't know what the hell's going on there, but that's YouTube side. Gonna wrap it up. So exciting to see all of that stuff working. Do not use any of that code as it's written because it's just bonkers. Like it's total debuggy nonsense code all in line. But the theory of what we have done, if you've never worked on that before, for the last few streams has all kind of made sense. I think that would be the flow that you would follow. Work out how to know if your resource has got the OAuth permissions it needs. If it hasn't, show the button, send the user off on their OAuth journey, bring that code back, save the things that you need to save, generate your access token and refresh token. And in this case, we're having a gem take care of a bunch of that stuff for us. But as we looked at, there is a Twitch version of that. And also you could write it yourself. You just have to go and read all of those docs, which sounded really boring. And then go and once you've saved that, work out how you're going to associate your system with the third-party system and make those changes back and forth. And we have then in here used a callback for that. But in reality, we would use some sort of background job with loads of resiliency code, which would take hours and days. So we don't care about that at all. And we are super excited and happy because everything works as we want it to. I am off because it's a gorgeously sunny day here. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Have like whatever you're doing and have a lovely time. Massive shout out to Finian who solved the problems we were having from last week and put some code in there to prove it. And yeah, I will meet you all back here next week. No idea what we're going to be doing and probably won't have given it much thought before then either. So it'll be a real roller coaster. Great. Have a lovely week. Bye. Bye.